Hi everybody, Kelly Nottingham here from Nottingham Professional Development and the Career Speakeasy Podcast. Here to do a non-spooky video because it is now not October, it is into November. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about a topic that I honestly wasn't sure I was going to cover this year. I did an episode on the podcast and published it yesterday, and then this video today to talk about a couple of pieces from that podcast episode about gratitude. Now, this time of year is a time of year that we tend worldwide to think about gratitude. We have a lot of holidays coming up that focus on gratitude and giving and, that whole like warm, fuzzy feeling that we're supposed to have at this time of year. We celebrated Veterans Day yesterday here in the United States. So thank you to all of our veterans who are watching this video and all of your families. Thank you for your service. We have Diwali coming up this weekend. We have Thanksgiving in the US coming up after that. Canada, you got the jump on us on Thanksgiving, of course. Send Putin. We have, let's see, what else do we have coming up? We have Hanukkah coming up. We have Yule coming up. We have Christmas coming up. We have Kwanzaa coming up. We have New Year's coming up. And all of these holidays sort of think about or cover or discuss or expect some level of gratitude. The challenge is that this year has been tough. This year has been a very challenging and difficult year for a lot of people, for most of us around the world. And one of the things about gratitude is that it can feel difficult to express gratitude or to feel gratitude when things are just not feeling like they're going very well. So I didn't really know that I wanted to talk about this topic because so much has already been done on this topic around how to practice gratitude. But I thought I would put my 2 cents in here because we are going to be going into a period where even if we aren't meeting in person with family and friends and coworkers, we're still going to probably have some interactions with family and friends and coworkers. And if you celebrate any of these holidays or you don't celebrate these holidays, it's still going to touch on you a little bit. And for those of you who may be feeling not naturally like I feel like having a lot of gratitude right now, I'm struggling to feel gratitude, I wanted to reach out to you with this podcast episode and this video to say, it's okay that you don't necessarily feel gratitude. I wanted to share 2 thoughts with you. The first is that to feel grateful, you have to do gratitude. So do gratitude to be grateful. Now, when we hear people talk about a gratitude practice, I think for a lot of folks, we tend to think that we have to pull out the meditation cushion and we have to light some incense and we have to think deep, super deep, philosophical, very large scale macrocosm kind of thoughts. And that's not actually the case. I think that concept actually turns a lot of people away from thinking about how to do gratitude on a regular basis. Gratitude doesn't have to be huge. It can be tiny, and it doesn't have to be anything that is life-changing. It can be very, very small day-to-day things, because here is my philosophy on this. I think a lot of this conversation around a gratitude practice goes really big on the practice itself, but a lot of times I think it doesn't actually go far enough to point out the actual point of a gratitude practice. It is not to actually in the moment necessarily feel grateful for the thing, although that is very useful and it can help you, especially when you're feeling stressed or frustrated or angry or sad, to recognize the good things that are going on in your life. But the bigger picture of a gratitude practice is to rewire your brain to change the filter that you use to view the world. So this gratitude practice doesn't have to be something huge. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's consistency. that helps to rewire our brains to look for the good instead of looking for what might not be so good. It's rewiring our brain from looking for, I am lacking these things, to maybe I actually do have some good stuff. And maybe I can actually do some things to help me be more grateful. So that's thought number one. Thought number two, that kind of parallels with that and sort of adds another layer on top of it, is that for a lot of folks who are not necessarily religious or spiritual, gratitude can feel a little bit odd. It can feel a little alien because we tend to sort of associate gratitude and that concept of feeling grateful with a sense of awe or a sense of wonder. But I would argue that gratitude, the real big benefit of gratitude, other than resetting that filter, is that it gives us perspective on ourselves as a very, very small piece of a larger system. Now, that larger system, that can be tied to your religious beliefs or your spiritual beliefs. So it can be God, it can be gods and goddesses, it can be life force in general, it can be nature, whatever it is that you think of that bigger system being. But it doesn't necessarily have to be religious or spiritual. That larger system could be the physics and the mathematics that are in the cosmos, that we are a tiny piece of this massive universe. It still creates a sense of awe and wonder when you think about it that way. And it also takes the focus off of us as the center of our own little universes that we orbit around. And it puts us in perspective to say, you know, it kind of is this amazing thing that I exist and that I have these opportunities to do things in my life, or that I exist in the same world with pizza. That's amazing, right? These don't have to be huge things, but it pulls us out of sometimes that shallow sort of blocked in feeling of looking at what the world around us is and our place in it, to realize that we are part of a much larger universe. We're part of this large world. We're part of humanity. And it also puts other people in their proper perspective with us as well. So I think for a lot of us, when we look at it that way, that it doesn't necessarily have to be religious or spiritual. It doesn't have to be huge and life-changing. It doesn't have to be this massive meditation practice. Gratitude becomes something that is really just, we can do this every single day. We can also spread the gratitude. And I talk about this in an episode of the podcast that I just released yesterday. That episode is called A Gratitude for Cynical Types. And I talked about this a little bit in a live event that I did last week with Ray Jackson from Career Bloom Consulting about gratitude by proxy. So I'm not going to go into that in this video. You can go listen to the podcast if you want to get more information about that and some other ideas about how to do gratitude that doesn't require a meditation mat. So listen wherever you get podcasts. You can access that on pretty much every major directory that's out there. Two more things I wanted to share with you really quickly. The first is that if you have missed any of these videos, I now have a YouTube playlist with these videos on it. I will link to that below so that you can access those videos. If you're feeling bored one day, you're sitting at your desk and you're eating lunch at your computer and you want something different to watch, you can load that playlist up and watch it, and I will have lunch with you. The other thing is that I am going to be releasing a survival guide for the holidays next week, but it is only going out to people on my mailing list. So if you are interested in that, you can go to kellynottingham.com. I will link to that below as well, and sign up for the mailing list. So this is not about how to celebrate those holidays. It's about how to survive this time of year with some gratitude and a sense of humor. So it's going to be a fun little booklet that's going to be going out to that mailing list. You can find that again, that mailing list, sign up at kellynottingham.com, Kelli, Nottingham like the sheriff.com. I hope you all have a wonderful week. If you have any thoughts that you want to share on gratitude, any ideas that maybe popped into your head while you were watching this video, please put them in the comments below. I would love to hear about that. I am grateful for all of you. So thank you all very much for listening, and have a great rest of your week.